I'm Brandy.
And welcome back to Unspoken Transitions, where we talk about the nuances of adulthood and the challenges that people don't really talk about. So today we are going to talk about what we learned in 2023 and what we're looking forward to in 2024, and some really good lessons that we think everyone could learn from and that we learned from, honestly. So first question I got for you, Brandy, is if you could sum up this year with a movie title, what movie would it be?
Like a movie that happened, or like a movie, just a movie title of my own?
It could be your own or a movie you've seen.
You know that Tisha Campbell meme where she's like, I'm still here. I can't. That's what it's giving. Yeah, I'm still here. Or like the weapon formed but it didn't prosper. That's what 2023 was giving it. It's giving I survived. I made it through. We're almost at the end.
You're hilarious. I'm still here. Like, I literally started doing the little dance and everything. So
Why was she so serious when she was doing it? She was so serious.
She was so proud of herself.
Yeah,
I'm like,
shout
girl.
out Tisha Campbell, because she really gave it her all.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Like, this question, okay, this is completely unprompted. I'm like, for this year, I would say it was like, this is just made up. The revelation or the awakening. I feel like a lot of things were revealed to me. I learned a lot about myself, my community, how I operate, and like it just like awakened me in a different way. And I'm just like, oh, like I see life in another way, but in a good way, honestly. Because last year was something else. This year was just way better. So last year was like an awakening in a bad way. Like, okay, y'all are being crazy, but now it's like, wow, like I'm learning about myself, and like I feel like I'm at peace. So
yeah, like seeing the fruits of opening your eyes to all of the hardships. Yeah, and I love that because it's a reminder that the hard times, they don't last forever.
Yes, they
really
really
don't last forever. And I think when you're in the thick of it, you think that it will, and then once it's done, you're like, oh, okay, now I see why I had to go through that to be where I am.
Exactly. Because like last year around this time, I don't remember if I've like shared on the podcast before, but last year around this, not December, but like a month before, like last November, I was like in such a bad place mentally, spiritually, everything. I was just like, everything is terrible. Like, I'm all set. God, like, I'm not going to do anything, but when you're ready to bring me to the pearly gates, I'm ready to go. That's essentially where I was. And I was just like, things are not going to get better. Like, what's the point? But through this year, he's really like given me so much joy and happiness and like great memories and people and so on and so forth. That gave me hope. I'm just like, all right, like, things are not bad forever. And like, you can be in a better situation, and your current bad situation doesn't have to last forever, you know, like I thought it would. So and
I feel like that's almost the pruning that needs to happen for you to be able to enjoy and be grateful for the things that are actually given to you. And I just think that's so interesting too. It's like, if you were given the things that you have now in 2022, would you be as appreciative or understand the depth of why they were given to you?
It's so true. I definitely, when I think back, I was definitely being like ungrateful in like so many ways, or I wasn't willing to sacrifice things because I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to just like do me, essentially, and in sacrificing those things or changing up my habits in a specific way, it did help me to like grow so much. So I'm just like, it wouldn't have been good, and I am grateful in a sense, because I think I've also shared, but like previous jobs were just not it. So being at a job that I don't have to wake up and feel anxious about really is a blessing. People are like, oh, it's work. I'm like, when you have a job where you're stressed every day, it's really bad because like you're doing it 40 hours a week. So I'm just grateful for where I am and like being surrounded by like healthy and positive people. So yeah
2022 was definitely a turning point for you.
Yeah, it definitely was. But 2023 has been great. So like, since we're there, and what's one thing this year that you're like proud of?
That I'm proud of? Honestly, surviving. I feel like just making it through the end of the year, trudging forward each and every day. I feel like that, because 2023 was hard. There were a lot of just like emotional challenges that I had, and I think the past few years have been tough, but I think it's been a balance of like tough with really like beautiful moments that I'm grateful for. So I think this entire year is just, I'm very proud of making it through and just being reminded of like how faithful God really is. Like 2023 has opened my eyes so much. So
amen to that.
yeah, honestly. So not a super huge accomplishment, but I'm just so proud of myself.
Oh no, that's a big accomplishment.
I'm so proud of myself. I think if people really knew what I went through this year, I'm very, very proud of myself.
Amen to that. That is not a small thing. That is a big thing when you like grow spiritually. You're maturing like emotionally and everything. And people always say, "What's the physical battles?" Like it's the big things. But I'm like, people don't understand sometimes the work it takes to move to that next point in your maturity, wisdom, towards being like your best self and stuff like that. So that is a big thing. That is a big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
For myself, it's definitely on like being closer to God and everything, because I think I was just playing games last year. I was just last year, yes, 2022. I was just playing games last year.
I know, like what year?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
What year?
I do that like daily. But how old are you? But it's so bad.
Wait, why is that so true? Because sometimes I'm like, wait, I'm like 20, 24, 25.
No, I pause.
I'm like, wait, I think it's the COVID thing.
I do think so too. It's just like, oh, like we feel like we should be a certain age, but things are moving faster.
Right.
Like it hits me. I know I'm not 24, 25 when like my cousin's like, oh, I just turned 24. I'm like, wait,
what?
So how old am I? Like, what's going on?
No, it's when people ask me, and it takes a second for me to do the math.
Yeah, I went to the airport and literally they were like, oh, because of the emergency seating or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like how old are you? And I froze for like a solid 30 seconds. And I was like, yo, I promise you,
Give
like
me a minute.
I'm old enough, but like just give me, I was like, I'm this age. And they were like, are you good? I was like, I have my license to prove it. I'm not lying, I promise. But time just does what it needs to do. But something that I'm proud of is growing in my relationship with God. Like my, I don't have Spotify, I have Apple Music, so like Apple Wrapped, if you want to call it that. It went from pretty much just like all secular music to like all Christian music. Like Maverick City is like my #1. And I'm just like, wow, like it took a big step for me to turn away from like gospel music and stuff like that, because
Turn away from secular music.
Oh wow. Well, there we go. Sorry, God. But it took me so much to do it, because I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with the music. Like they're not talking about like anything explicit, they're not talking about any bad things or whatever. So I was just like, why can't I listen to it? I'm like, they're talking about like love, they're talking about X, Y, and Z. And something in my spirit, like I said, this is for me, my spirit. I'm not telling nobody they can't listen to whatever they want to listen to. But in my spirit, it was just like, I turned the song on, I'm starting singing, and then God's just like, hey, you shouldn't be singing that, or you shouldn't be listening to it. And it took a lot of fighting, and then I fasted. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but have you seen the Homer Simpson meme where it's like, did you watch The Simpsons growing up?
Not really, but I know the memes. I be knowing the memes like I watched it. Is it the one where he goes into the bush?
No, that's a funny one, but it's like, what's his name? It's like Bart's on the bed and he's kind of like backed up, and Homer's face is like huge, and he's like looking at him on the bed. Okay, he's like looking at him on the bed.
Yeah.
So every single time I turn on a song, it's like, you're not supposed to be listening to that. When I started fasting, it was like in my ears. It was like, hey, like, you shouldn't be listening to this. Like, don't listen to this, don't listen to it. And when you fast for something, when you don't listen, it's you get some repercussions. So I was just like, you know what? It was like for me out of an attitude. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I won't listen to it. Let's see if it makes a difference. Such like, yeah. I was like, let's see if it makes a difference, because like I don't see the point or whatever. But the joy I experienced on like a daily basis, like how happy I felt when I just like kind of cut it out. It helped me a lot spiritually, and to just see life in a more positive way. And the way that like secular music filled me before, gospel music like now had like that replacement in my heart. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I feel more at peace, I feel happier, I have more like energy. It's so weird to even say that, but ultimately it just depends on your relationship with God. Again, I'm not saying, oh, don't listen to it or whatever, because it's all of it's bad. I'm not trying to be one of them Haitians. I think everything is bad that is in the Bible. But that was like a big accomplishment for me this year, to like actually listen to God when he talks to me, to put things aside, because he knows what's best for me, and he knows what I need. And even though it is hard to put those things that I love since I was a kid, he knows it's for my good, and that's what's needed for me. So that was the biggest thing, just like getting closer to God in general and actually listening to him, because I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna see for myself. So
and obedience is so powerful, and the fact that you saw that literally in like the physical wrapped kind of situation is like, it's so, the difference I'm sure was like so stark.
It was so, because Ariana Grande was at the top last year.
No, I had a similar experience with my rap too, and I was like, when I listen back now, I'm like, wow, 90% of these are like gospel songs or like songs I liked in my childhood. So yeah, it's like once you make that transition, it's really hard to listen to music the same. Even some like love songs too, like I don't know, this is a whole different topic, but some of them I feel like make you almost idolize
like
the person being hurt, or like the person that you love, or like whatever the case is. And I'm like,
you're like, this is turning into something a little bit tricky.
I should be thinking this about God and not like another person. So yeah,
that's so real. Even like the sad music too, when you're just like engulfed, like you're in a good mood but you listen to the sad music and now you're like in a really sad and bad mood. And I think something else God revealed to me was like like you said, the words just sticking out. Like I was in the car and Eli was like listening to a song and it was just so violent, but he's a type where he's just like, listen to the vibe, the beat. Same here, like I didn't hear anything when people would say, oh, this is bad. And I was like, yo, did you just hear what he said? Like, did you hear that? And he's just like, I was like, run it. But I'm like, did you hear that? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he literally said that he wants to turn his brain into a fruit cup. I'm like, this is
what?
Like literally like shoot them and like turn their brain to, you know what I'm saying? How violent that is. I was just like, yo, like this, I can't do this right now. I'm not trying to be this Haitian, but I was like, I can't like do this. And then
but when you hear it, and it's like you can't
unhear
that,
it. So I was just like, yo, he's like, wait, did it really say that? And I was like, yo, go back. And then he was like, oh. So he like changed it up and everything. He's like, oh, I didn't even know like it was that bad. And
it's very easy to miss.
It's so easy to miss. And I feel like even like some secular songs that stood out too, they're like, oh yeah, like they're worshiping demons, or like they throw it in, it goes with the vibe and the beat and the melody of the song so well. You can't even tell most of the time, but sometimes you're literally saying you're worshiping demons, or like you're putting your hope in like some other things and you don't even realize that you're like actually manifesting that into yourself. So just watch what you listen to, but if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people it does affect them, some people it does not affect you. You know what I'm talking about. But like, I don't know, just be aware of what you're listening to, because you know how they say even ads, when you're looking at ads, you're not paying attention to them, but they go into your subconscious, and sometimes like in the future when you make a purchasing decision, it'll be something you saw that will make you buy it. I think music goes the same way. So if you're not being intentional about what you're listening to, you're subconsciously taking in all these messages, and then it's manifesting into your life and you don't even know, because you don't realize what you're taking in. So be careful.
Thank you for sharing that though, because I think that's so real for a lot of people. Music is like huge for so many people. It's a way to connect, it's a way to make yourself feel good. So I get that completely.
Yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. But yeah,
I'm gonna need those playlists.
I got you.
Those playlists.
Yours was good too. You sent me yours. It was like all throwbacks. So I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like my preteen soul right now. So like, I'll send you mine. But what was, I think you shared a little bit, but what was like one of the hardest lessons that you learned this year?
One of the hardest lessons I learned was that I'm not in control. Like I'm not in control. Never was, never will be. And I think I've always put a lot of pressure on myself to kind of just like do things the way in which I believe they should be done, all of these things. But there have been so many times this year where I was just honest with God, like, this is not something that you intended for me to hold. This is not something you intended for me to carry. I'm not supposed to worry about these things. And I just gave it to him. And then in those instances, every single time, God has like showed up for me in more ways than I could imagine. So I think that was the hardest part, just throwing in the towel and being like, Lord, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel, because I cannot do this anymore. So that was a hard lesson for me to learn, but I'm glad I learned it in that way, because I think that's something that I've always known, but knowing something and putting it into practice is two different things.
It's true.
So being able to put that into practice this year has just really strengthened my relationship with him. And that's just something that I feel like I can't go back on now.
That's real. It was kind of like, I understand that 100%, where you're like, oh, I know God, it's like you say, oh, God's in control, but like at the same time too, like, let me just take the wheel on this and take the wheel on that and take the wheel on this, and then God's just like, like when I say depend on me, I mean like,
right. And, yeah, and that was the challenge for me too, of like, I want to give it to God, right? Like, this is not something that I'm intended or designed to carry. And also, faith without works is dead. So I was just trying to I'm trying to put in the work alongside the faith, Lord. So that was really my struggle this year of trying to figure out the balance between the two. But I think it goes back to what you said about obedience, right? The works is tied to your obedience.
Yeah.
So that's not just something that I should try and do on my own. So that was really the push and pull for me this year.
That's true. I hear you. Like,
and that was hard.
No, it's the obedience part is extremely hard. I understand 100%. And I think for me it's similar in a sense. Like last year, I think what I'm gonna say is I think it's a beautiful thing that you're kind of like, you know, working with God, having the conversation, like have some lessons, and like he taught you to be obedient and helped you to get to the point that like he wants you to be at. For me, he had to strip everything away from me to like be obedient. Like I had to be at such a low place for me to only like have him, and to, like I'm so desperate that like it's only God for me to actually listen to him and obey. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you don't need to go, you're not stubborn, you don't need to go all the way down here for you to listen to him, and that it came naturally. So that is an amazing thing. Like that, it's beautiful.
You're gonna make me emotional. You're gonna make me emotional. I didn't expect this episode to be so emotional, you guys.
I didn't even know we were down the Christian route so far.
Please. Please.
It's a beautiful thing, and I think that if we just like continue to trust, like we say we trust God, but I don't feel like sometimes we truly do trust him. And I think it's just in those moments of revelation where he reveals things to us and we just take it and go with it, and he just brings us like further, that like I don't know, it just brings forth beautiful things. So be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself.
What about you?
Goodness gracious. Let's see. The hardest lessons I've learned this year is, I'm trying to think. I would say that like, not everyone deserves you, is what I'll say. Not everyone deserves every piece of you. Because I feel like I was always the type to go above and beyond and do everything and like plan and so on and so forth. And like, I was just always giving myself and like 100% doing everything. And then I reached the point where I was just like, bro, like this person's taking advantage of it. Like this person is like consistently being rude. This person is not, like they don't appreciate me for me. And I'm at the point where like maybe in my like my early 20s, it was cute. Like whatever, we're all college friends. We're all like high school friends, whatever. We're all friends. Like let's just like give all of us to everybody, acquaintances, friends, good friends, just everybody, just give all of it. But in doing that, you lose a piece of yourself. And I learned this year, like I had to kind of isolate for a while and reflect on like who I want my company to be, what friends I want to have, who do I want to be as a person, how do I surround myself with people that have those values, that have those things, so that I can continue to elevate, not stagnate or go down. So that was really tough to like sit for months and just really reflect and think and not like go out or do anything. I was literally sitting for months like what I want and who I want to be as a person, and that was really hard because I feel like I just hit like the breaking point like a month or two ago, where now I'm just like, okay, I feel good about the company I keep, I feel good about like the friends that I have, and I feel like I know which friends serve a purpose. And I know that some people can say like, oh, like you only have a friend for this and that. It's like, no, like there's some friends that you know when you ask for advice, they're going to give you this type of advice. Others it's going to be like, oh, they'll keep you comfortable. Others they'll like kind of like spit in the soup, like, oh, hard like lesson or whatever. So just knowing the company you keep, understanding it, and making sure that they're helping you get to a good place and where you want to be and everything. So that was a hard lesson because I had to evaluate every relationship that I had, and it was tough but very necessary, I would say.
Yeah, and that's hard to kind of go through those stages of kind of sorting through like the people in your life, or people that may have disappointed you or just not lived up to what the purpose that you need in your life today. Because I'm certain they had served a purpose at some point in your friendship or your life.
Exactly. And it's always tough. You're like, damn, like should I do this? But also you don't want to prematurely just goes back to my sister's book. You don't want to prematurely just cut people off because like you're reflecting and thinking. And my therapist revealed something to me. It's just like everybody has seasons. So like you may have had a season with somebody for like 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 1 year, 2 year, whatever, but like relationships can change and shift, and that's okay. I think for a while I was just trying to force it to be what it was for like so many friendships on all like different levels. I was trying to force it to be a specific way, and in doing that I'm getting hurt myself because I'm just like, oh, why isn't it like this? But it's also like, I'm also not the same way. You're not the same way. We're not the same way. Let's stop trying to fight it, and let's just like let it be and lean into like where we're going together. So that was hard because if you are going from like a certain level of what you define as closeness to just something completely different that you don't feel like defines you as being a close person, then sometimes it can hurt your feelings. Sometimes you overthink and stuff like that. So that was a tough one. Yeah.
That's real though. That's real. I have nothing to add to that. I just know that that's all too real.
No, it was tough, but thank God that like, you know, we're here and we've grown, and we had a hard lesson, but it didn't break us. Like, we were able to work through it to get to a better spot. I know some people, things happen, like you go down, you stay down for a while. So I'm just grateful that it was a year and not like a decade, for example. So yeah, absolutely. And everything that we both learned is taking us into 2024. Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And
every challenge it's a lesson. It's a lesson. I look at it as a lesson. What did I learn from it?
No
facts. How am I gonna move forward?
And it's crazy how like I feel like growth when I was younger was like elementary school, middle school, high school. Now it's like 6 months, you're gonna get a lesson. Another 6 months, a year is gonna be like, I feel like 5 years worth of lessons. So we also grow and develop like from when we were kids and everything. But I'm just so shocked as to like how much we've grown and changed within such a short span of time. Because even 25 to 27, it's completely different.
Absolutely,
so it's wild.
So would you say that you're the same person walking into 2023 as you are preparing to walk into 2024?
Absolutely not. Definitely not.
Who is she?
No, literally, because I feel like 2023 me was just trying to hold on to like everything in the past so much, and was just so comfortable being complacent, so comfortable just like being in victim mode essentially, because 2022 was so hard. I was just like, oh yeah, like I had a hard time, so like I don't need to do anything, like I can just stay here, I'm comfortable, like I can be encouraged by the people around me. The people around me understand, so like they'll comfort me being in like my own victim mindset. So I overcame that this year, and I think God revealed to me, he revealed to me, hey, you're in a better spot now, so like I was doing a lot for you, and now you need to put in some work, sis. Like you need to do something. Because I was kind of just like, oh God, like give me this, give me that. And he's like, I gave you this and that because you didn't have the strength to. Now you have strength to, so put in the work, put in the effort. And I saw him show it to me so many times. So now that he's thank God I have the strength now. Like I'm actually putting in work, energy, time to like get things done and everything. Not like burnout, but he carried you through a certain season. The next season is not going to be the same. So
he gave you the training wheels for a while, and now it's time for you to actually ride the bike.
He's like, you're all set, take them off. So I love that analogy. That is so true. How about you?
Wait.
The question was the person you watching in 2023.
Oh yeah.
Okay. No, we went down the path, so it's not your fault.
Okay, let's get it together. No, absolutely not. I think I walked into 2023 very hopeful. I was like, this is gonna be the year, and God was like, not yet.
He said, hold up.
So he was like, not this year. So definitely not who I was walking in that I am now, for sure. I just feel like so much more mature, so much more wise. I feel so much more patient. Like a lot of things that used to bother me at the beginning of 2023, 2022-ish don't bother me as much anymore. And I'm just like, some of those things just don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like my frame of mind is definitely different. And I'm just not fazed by certain things like I used to be. I think sometimes I'm just like, it is not that serious. It's not that serious. Everyone needs to relax. So that I think definitely a lot more patience with people, with myself, and just with the world, for sure.
I understand that, because I think even down to something as simple as road rage, I used to be like going off in my car, but now it's like, okay, whatever. I didn't leave on time, which is why I'm frustrated, which is why I'm upset at the car in front of me going the speed limit, even though they're not doing anything wrong. So I get that. Or even the patience point that you spoke to in general. It's just like, all right, like I have more wisdom and patience to help somebody work through the situation or understand that the attitude or whatever they're giving me has nothing to do with me. It has to do with them, and I make peace with that. And it takes a lot of work to get there. So kudos to you in terms of that. That is awesome. So yeah, look at us going into 2024. New people.
What are you most looking forward to walking into 2024?
Let me not go off on a side tangent. I'm not sure what I'm looking forward to. I'm just prepared for whatever God has for me. Like, I know that I have big plans, you have big plans. Like, there's so much I want to do, accomplish, just like fun or even just like personal growth. And I'm just gonna lean into what God wants for me and not even like jump in with a specific mindset, because I think I've done that in so many years, and it just led to me being frustrated, angry, so on and so forth. 2023 was a year where I had no expectations, and I'm just grateful for where I am now. So I'm gonna do the same thing for 2024 moving forward. I know that doesn't answer the question, but like, I am looking forward to good and happy times with like friends and family and stuff like that. But in terms of, you know, people like, yo, 2024 is gonna be my year. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just gonna, like, you know, I have plans, I have fun things I want to do, but like, if it doesn't happen this year, that's not in God's plan for me. I can wait for another year.
You can live with that. I feel like I'm in the same exact boat, honestly. I don't want to go in with all of these expectations and things like that. I just really want to learn more about God's character this year, because I feel like in 2023 I really learned his character. I really learned about how compassionate and kind and caring and gentle he is, and how faithful he is, and I am just looking forward to learning more about that through, you know, positive moments too. So because I think you can learn just as much about God's character in the positive, joyous moments as you do in the challenging times. I think people think it's just the challenging times, but that's not always the case. So I'm looking forward to that, and just bettering myself every day. Bettering myself, that's what I look forward to.
Yeah, I think that's real though. When you said, there was something specific you said that stood out to me. Wow, it's gone, and it's gone. That's so sad.
It's okay. It's a little early though. It's a little early. So.
But yeah, I think 2024 is going to be good to us, and I'm excited and happy for us.
I know.
It's going to be good.
Look at us.
Like, praise God. Like, it's going to be good.
Look at us.
I didn't realize it was going to turn into a straight up Christianity journey.
I mean, but that's just such a big part of our lives now. So our faith, our walks with Christ. So I'm happy that we have this platform to kind of talk about it.
That's real. Well, thank you for listening. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to send an email to unspokentransitions@gmail.com, and we'll see you in the new year.
Yes, see you next year, y'all. Bye.